Hi there, we're here with Ruth Bell today, and she's never put in a tail wrap, so we're going to show you just how easy it is, even if it's your very first time. What Ruth is going to do is she's going to start up on the dock bone area, and she's going to start her knot up there real loose, and then she's going to slide it down below the dock bone area. You want to make sure that you're below the dock bone area. Don't tie anything in the dock bone area. Once you're below that dock bone area, pull that knot snug and tie it in a slip knot, which will make it much easier for you to remove the tail wrap, whether it be 3 days or 14 days later. There'll be 3 panels hanging, and what you'll do is you'll separate out about 1/3 of the hair, and you'll take one of those panels and you'll lay the hair up in there, and then you'll just roll that material around and fasten the hook and loop, which will form a tube around that hair. Now, this tail has been washed and conditioned. We do recommend using a leave-in conditioner. We recommend using a lot of it. Saturate that hair with it. We like Equiderma, which is an all-natural product, and we dilute the Equiderma, about 1 part Equiderma conditioner to 3 parts water, put in a spray bottle and spray it on that tail and saturate that tail really well. Another one that we really like is Clear Choice. It's again an all-natural product. We choose all-natural products because that way we know that there's no chemicals that will be causing damage or be detrimental to the hair. Now, there are some products out there, such as tail bags and other tail care products, that require that you braid the horse's tail before installing their product. For the tail bag, in order to keep the tail bag in, you have to braid the tail because you're tying the tail bag through that, through the braid, and that product itself can saw the hair off. Number one. Number two, if the tail gets hung up, you're going to jerk out a good portion of that horse's tail if that gets hung up on something. Also, braiding hair on hair is not a good idea because a hair shaft is not smooth unless it's in absolutely perfect condition. It's got little notches in it. It will actually saw itself off. So braiding hair on hair is detrimental also. And so we're trying to not do anything detrimental here. So with tail wrap, you don't have to braid it to keep it in. You don't have to braid the hair first before you put it in the product. And if you were to do that, by the time you braid the hair and then install it in something, then braid it again, your horse's tail has actually become a lethal weapon. It's pretty much useless as far as a tail goes. And with tail wrap, you're not doing causing any damage. You're completely covering and protecting the tail. And then once you have all the hair installed, then you braid those tubes together and you braid those very snug. And that's what actually keeps the tail wrap in. And if it does get hung up, it's not going to jerk the hair out because nothing is tied through the tail. It is just covering it, protecting it, making it moist and supple, manageable, and keeping it clean. So that's the beauty of tail wrap. So she'll get down at the end of that, she'll tie a tie around the bottom of that to secure it. Ruth, you were telling about an incident you had with a horse that had tail bag on. Tell us about that.
Summertime, and this mare had been turned out for about 2 months from what I understand, and before they turned her out, they had braided her tail and then placed it in a tail bag. And obviously summertime, you're going to have flies, irritants, and swishing of the tail. And I brought this mare in because a client had wanted to show her again, and so I took the tail out of the tail bag, and it was a horrible scene. The hair was so dry and brittle, and from the swishing action inside of that bag, hairs had worked loose from the braid but had rewrapped and tied knots all around. Well, I worked for about a good 3.5 hours to try to gently manipulate that tail out of a braid, but in the process of it being braided and the hair being so brittle, the hairs had broken off, and we ended up with the mare, and she virtually had no tail. It was so thin and ugly, and you know, they couldn't show her because her tail looked so terrible. And you know, I really like this concept of 3 separate tubes to put your hair in before you braid, because I don't see any way possible that any of this hair could become knotted up or tangled within each other. Like, they're secure in these tubes, and then you're braiding it. And you know, the problem with those tail bags is once they're done, you know, you might have that left, and a horse trying to swish itself like with that bag is they get irritated and they can't reach everything they need to do. And this it still looks like a normal tail, and it's got a lot of reach to it and a lot of give. So I really like this concept. This is the best concept out there.
So here we are, 9 days later, same tail wrap. We're going to take it out now. So you start at the bottom, you untie that bottom tie, then you go ahead and undo the braid all the way to the top tie. When you get to that top tie, you'll want to undo that tie, and the hook and loop on the top of each tube, you will unfasten those, and this will allow you to gently slide the tail wrap off in one piece and not have to undo all the panels. So you'll go ahead and slide this off, and when you do, you'll find that no hair is pulled out. You won't find broken hairs in there. It'll be clean on the inside, and there's no moisturizer or conditioner in there either. It's all gone to the benefit of the horse's tail. So as you can see, the horse's tail is shiny, it's clean, it's flexible, it feels absolutely lovely. You're able to run a brush through it. If you'd used any other product that required you to braid the hair on hair first, there's no way you'd be able to just run a brush through this hair. So now you've seen just how easy tail wrap is to put in. So if you've been battling having nice tails on your horses, which it's a lot of work, get a tail wrap. You'll find it is the easiest and most effective tail care product out there that has benefits for both you and your horse.